Good evening. I'm David Axelrod. I'm the director of the Institute of Politics. You know, when we founded the Institute of Politics, and Gretchen Crosby Sims, our executive director, sitting here, she's heard me tell this story a million times before. We named it the Institute of Politics because that had been established at Harvard University 50 years ago, and that was a model, and we thought, okay, call it the Institute of Politics. And I quickly realized that we had a huge branding issue because the two things that particularly young people were skeptical about, but not just young people, were institutions and politics. And our definition of politics is very broad. It's not simply running for public office, serving in government, serving people who run for public office or serve in government. There are many, many ways to impact on the world in a positive way. There are many ways to bring about change that have nothing to do with running for office or serving in office. And we could not have a more splendid example than Dikembe Mutombo. He is not just a world-class athlete, really one of the great athletes of our time, but he's one of the great philanthropists of our time, one of the great promoters of social justice and of equity for people in his home country, in the Congo, and in his adopted country here and around the world. And so it is a thrill to invite him and to hear from him tonight. And we're lucky to have J.A. Adande, a great journalist, knows him well, to lead us through that discussion. Just a word about upcoming events. This Thursday, former Director of Policy for the State Department, Dennis Ross, who has been the point person on Middle East issues in the Middle East peace process for both Republican and Democratic presidents, comes to the IOP to unpack Israelis' current politics and the state of the peace process in the Middle East. He'll be in conversation with Storer Rowley, Bob Rowley, the former national editor of the Chicago Tribune, a former colleague of mine, a great international correspondent in the past, and wonderful guy to lead that discussion. On Tuesday, November 5th, we're convening an all-star panel of journalists to preview the 2020 elections. The program will feature IOP fellow Enrique Acevedo from Univision and Mark Murray, who was an IOP fellow from NBC News, along with Lisa Desjardins of PBS NewsHour and Laura Barron-Lopez of Politico. On Thursday, November 7th, Superintendent of Chicago Police Department Eddie Johnson comes to the IOP to discuss public safety and police reform in Chicago. He'll be interviewed by Brandis Friedman of WTTW's Chicago Tonight. And for more information on these events and upcoming events, please visit our website at politics.uchicago.edu and sign up for our newsletter. After the discussion, we'll open the floor to take questions from the audience. Please line up behind the microphone in the center aisle. Everyone is welcome to the mic. I see in my notes it says first years women and basketball novices. That's good. We want your questions, and we want them to be questions, so just remember that questions end with a question mark. And as usual, we will give priority for the first three questions to be asked by our students. Please make sure your phones are on silent. And now, to formally introduce our speaker is Drew Hallowell. Drew is a second year from Scarsdale, New York, studying political science and public policy. During his time at the IOP, he's written for The Gate and has been a Fellows Ambassador and team leader. This year, he is the Fellows Chair on our Student Advisory Board. Please join me in welcoming Drew to the podium.
I'm honored today to welcome NBA legend and renowned humanitarian Dikembe Mutombo to campus on behalf of the Institute of Politics to discuss his humanitarian work in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Born in the DRC, Mutombo came to the US to study at Georgetown University, playing basketball as a Hoya before graduating in 1991 with dual degrees in linguistics and diplomacy. Drafted by the Denver Nuggets out of college, Mutombo then embarked on an illustrious 18-year-long NBA career, playing for 6 teams, including my personal favorite, the New York Knicks. He became an icon in the NBA, becoming one of its most feared defensive players, an 8-time All-Star, and one of the most prolific shot blockers in NBA history. But notably throughout his NBA career, Mutombo engaged in significant humanitarian work back home in the Congo. Founding the Dikembe Mutombo Foundation in 1997, Mutombo spearheaded a difficult decade-long effort to build a hospital in the DRC's capital, Kinshasa. When it opened in 2007, it became the first modern medical facility built in the area in nearly 4 decades. As of today, it has provided valuable medical services to over 500,000 people in the Congo. Mutombo's work continues today as he advocates for investment into the well-being of Congolese citizens and spearheads a new project to build a school in his parents' ancestral home. Moderating our conversation today is J.A. Adande, longtime sports journalist and professor at Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism, where he spearheads the school's sports journalism program. Adande brings with him decades of experience in sports journalism, having worked at ESPN, Los Angeles, and the Chicago Sun-Times, among others, where his writing has been frequently recognized for its high quality. Throughout his career, he has covered events including professional basketball, Wimbledon tennis, and the Olympic Games. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming J.A. Adande and Dikembe Mutombo.
Thank you so much, and good evening. And it's a pleasure for me to be up on stage with Mr. Mutombo, who covered for a long time in many cities and many jerseys.
Very long time.
Both of his NBA Finals appearances I was fortunate enough to cover. I will start with a couple of basketball questions before we get into some of the broader issues, in part because you said that basketball was the vehicle for you that's enabled you to do so much.
Yes.
I wondered if you think in today's game that you would have had that same chance. We don't see centers, you know, we don't see big shot blocking centers. The game has gotten smaller, faster. Everyone's shooting 3-pointers. I checked, he had 2 3-point attempts in your career.
No, 1.
1? Okay.
I had 1. I'm 0 for 1 for 18 years, which is not bad. First, I want to say thank you for having me here at the Chicago University. And it's a great pleasure sharing the stage with Jay, someone that I know for so long time, when I was a baby in college at Georgetown. So the game have changed. And if you look at the way Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, all those guys who played before my time, it was a different game. And when I came in and then I did, the game change as well. It becoming more physical. And then they cut a little bit of a physical part. Then they end up changing more again, now becoming a shooting game. But if I was playing today, I still gonna get some shot block. Trust me. Yeah, I'm gonna chase somebody outside. And I was not slow like some of the guys you have seen playing the NBA. I was a little bit quicker. But I don't know about my threes. I don't know if I have shot it. I will shoot the threes.
You told me once, and it's a philosophy that's stayed with me. You were out at a game at Staples Center, and you asked me how I thought, the local teams were doing, and I said, they've had a pretty good season. I feel pretty good about their chances. And you wagged that finger at me, told me, playoffs are different. You know this. And I've kept that in mind, and I would just like you to expand on that a little bit. How is playoff basketball different, and how does the game change when you get into the postseason?
I'm glad you asked that question because people always complain, say, oh, why the ref is not calling a foul? But the way the NBA look at our game is not the same when it comes to the playoff. In the playoff, they know that the season is over, It's only a few of the best team who stay around to play in the playoff. And then they ask you to compete with your best ability and the best win. If you don't come with all the physical challenge and the mental challenge, there's no way you can go and win a playoff. That's why you see every time there's a playoff game, as the series goes on, and you see bodies start falling apart on the floor. That's what the fans want to see. And when they get to the championship, it gets much physical than that.
You had a chance a couple years ago to wear that famous Denver Skyline jersey in Africa, in South Africa. I wonder what it meant. I can see you smiling now just thinking about it. What it meant to you to be able to wear an NBA jersey, play a game on your home continent?
I think it was a blessing. It was a dream come true. Dysfunctional, I was not lucky enough to play when I was still in my career as an active player. But to have a chance to go back in the continent of Africa, wear the NBA uniform again and walk on a basketball court and see more than 20-some plus thousand people cheering for you and welcoming you again, it was just one of the best memories that nobody cannot take away. And to be in alongside with my brother, Akeem Olajuwon, I think that was the best moment for both of us, the son of the continent, and just playing there together was great.
And now the NBA is forming NBA Africa.
Yes.
What do you think about the prospects for basketball, for NBA level basketball in Africa?
I think the continent have a great potential, and I think the future of our continent, you have a much room on the youth of the continent of Africa. Our young people will have their dream come true. Right now, as you're looking at the NBA, we got more than 10% of our ball players come from the continent of Africa. But the NBA studying a basketball league in the continent, it just opened up more doors for any kids who dream about reaching their potential on a professional level. Now they will not giving no excuse because the league have come to them. In the same token, what the NBA is trying to do also, give a chance to some of the young African players who think about playing professional, but who will not have a chance to come to the NBA. But at least they will have a chance to play in the NBA African League and provide something for their family, and they have their dream come true.
You travel around the world as an NBA Global Ambassador. You just were in India recently, for example, with the NBA's first visit over there for a preseason game. But as you've seen, it can be difficult integrating the cultures
Yes.
and navigating the politics. And in particular, it's been difficult this year with China. And just from your perspective, how can the NBA continue to successfully have that relationship in particular when we've seen that there's such a cultural clash?
I don't think there's no cultural clash between the NBA and its follower, or those who love the game of basketball, because we have to understand that the NBA is a league, and our game is global. Our game is not just playing in the United States. That's the reason why you see our teams traveling globally, playing games in China, in Japan, in India. We'll be playing in Europe in January. There will be a Mexico games, and sometimes we play in South America. And then next year we think about having our first game in the continent of Africa. So our games is really global. We are not believing that NBA is just an American game. It's a global game because we have more than like 600 to 700 million people who follow the NBA worldwide. So our fan base is very huge. We are so happy with the fan base that we have created. But the political climate that comes with I don't think it's part of the NBA because what bring our game to be the best? Because basketball, you have a power to unify people. That's what game about our sport. Sport can unify people despite their culture, their religion, and their civilization. And so what people are looking at what's going on between the NBA and China, I think that thing will be solved up by himself. It's just a question of time, and if we give ourselves time, maybe in a couple of months or some, I think team will quiet down and people will go out and enjoy the game of basketball because it's such a fun game. I played for 18 years. I wish I still have the knees to play again, but my knees are gone, you know.
You still have the elbows. I asked him to give me an elbow backstage.
Only thing I still have is
You
this.
still have that too.
I still have that. No, don't try that to me. So, but the game is still fun. I still can play twice or 3 times a year, except only for those people who try to challenge me on my age. You know. Don't let me put my shoes on.
But I guess if a single tweet can, and then just to recap for anyone in the audience who might not be familiar, the general manager of the Houston Rockets sent out a tweet that supported the protesters in Hong Kong, and that's what set off this reaction and threatened somewhat the NBA's presence over there. If it can be that fragile that a tweet can threaten everything, how do you go forward from that? How do you have confidence that the relationship can continue?
I think the relationship will continue. I think I have a great respect to Daryl Morey and the Houston organization, and I think Daryl doesn't represent me. Daryl doesn't represent you. So whatever Daryl might say is up to him. It doesn't speak for me. And that's how I look at it. I have so many great friends in China. You know my good friend who is my best friend, Yao Ming, someone I remain very close in my life and my family and his family. So I would not let that change our friendship or break up our family tie because someone who worked at the NBA says something. And I think what has brought us together is the love of the game, the love of that ball. And I think it will stay like that. The decision that's been made by the government of China, I think they will find a time where the Chinese government and the NBA will sit at the table and solve the differences. And every problem that we have faced in this world, as you look at in our history, there's no problem that goes on for 100 years or 200 years. Time have come for people to sit down and solve the differences. It can be a marriage, it can be a friendship, whatever it is. And I think the moment might be now good, but the time will come to be solved.
It's a very optimistic worldview.
Yes, I'm a believer. I believe that things will be solved.
As we said at the top, basketball has enabled you to experience so much and to provide so much for others. When you got to America, when you got to Georgetown, you weren't a basketball player.
No.
I'm wondering if you've ever thought of an alternative life where you didn't play basketball. How do you think you would have been able to make a difference? And maybe, as a source of inspiration for our students, how can they make a difference without that platform that you were able to enjoy?
No, I'm glad you asked that question because I came to the United States as a student, as an exchange student with the U.S. government where I got a scholarship to come study medicine. My dream in life was to study medicine and becoming a medical doctor and maybe have a chance to go back in Africa, practice medicine. But fortunately, when I arrived at Georgetown University, everybody just looked at this tall giant walking around. People was wondering, what is he doing? Why you are not on the basketball team? How come you didn't play yesterday? What's wrong with you? Who are you guys? And there was too much question thrown to me that I have the dean of my school start asking me why you're not on the basketball team. I have the president of the university, Father Hillis, was questioning me why you're not on the team. And then I have to go to the meeting to meet with Coach Thompson, who asked me if I can join the basketball team. And I said, okay, maybe next year. And the following year, I joined the team. You guys look at me being great. I tell you what, I was very bad. And I was awful. I used to play like 2 to 3 minutes a game. I didn't understand the game very well. I think the speed of the game was just too fast for me from where I came from. And whatever was going on, the cultural differences, it was very tough for me. It took me like a year and a half to pick up my speed. And it was not until my junior year that when I was called on the side by Coach Thompson, who just have a deep conversation with me, who told me that, son, you are growing up very well in the game of basketball. If you keep going with this pace, you have a chance to becoming a great basketball player and make a lot of money. So I'm glad that I took that advice.
And the amazing thing is you've been able to help so many more people than if you were just a doctor.
I use basketball, I always tell people that I use my career as a platform for me to go out and do what I do today. Because every young people, when they're as young as you are, I know each one of you have a dream. You have a place where you want to be tomorrow. You have a dream where you want, the city that you want to live, the thing that you want to accomplish in life. But don't forget, you also have a dream about the difference that you want to make in this world that we are living in. Because do not think that we as an adult, because I have children of your age, that we are trying to solve some of the problems that our society is facing. And you're going to be part of some of those problems that we are trying to solve. We are doing our best with our time, but we want you to start learning what we are doing so you can becoming also part of the global citizen. Because by the time when we are no longer here, and you can take those problems with you and try to solve it. And you might not solve all of them because you're going to pass it on to your own children too. So you have to know that the world goes around and the world comes with a lot of challenges. When my parents was growing up, they didn't face Ebola. They didn't know about all of those deadly diseases. But when it came to my generation, we faced those challenges. And I took those challenges very serious. I have engaged myself to becoming part of the problem. As one of the great doctors put during the AIDS conference in South Africa, that when there's a problem affecting one part of the society, it's becoming a responsibility of every human being living to the planet. So do not think that the problem you see in Chicago or in Africa or in China is not your problem. It's your problem. Because the trade war between the US and China right now is becoming all of our problem because it's affecting the way we live, the way you go to Walmart to shop, the way you go to Target, whatever way you shop. It's becoming your problem because you're spending more money than you didn't supposed to pay. So you have an obligation to becoming engaged. That's why I'm speaking here today, because I want you guys to know that you need to becoming engaged to some of the problem that the world is facing. Don't think that I'm not going to be part of this problem. Or you're going to live in an apartment building where you walk every day on the street, you see trash in the neighborhood, and you don't act. Or you walk in the lobby, there's always trash in your lobby, you don't act. You just go to your beautiful apartment upstairs. You always say, oh, I'm not going to speak out about that. No, it's your responsibility. I'm doing it. I could have continued to live my beautiful life with my beautiful wife and children, but I engaged myself to solve some of the problem. But you don't have to do what I'm doing, because I think I've gone a little bit too high. But they can be part of this, whatever solution that the board that we are facing in.
How do you suggest they take their first steps?
The first step is to fall in love of something that you believe in. You know, if you believe that you want to be part of the community's change, maybe, I'll give you an example. In America, we are facing an opium crisis. And it's affecting so many young people today, you know, from high school to college, maybe after colleges. And now we are facing this, e-cigarette problem that is facing our community now, young people. And you can create a movement. You know, you can call 3 or 5 of your friends, say, how about they becoming engaged to our community and talk to our friends about this problem. You know, people who are cleaning the lake, people who are cleaning the rivers, they're doing it because they love it. Because they wake up one day in the morning, they say, I want to make a difference. Nobody didn't tell me, Dikembe, wake up, go build a hospital. No. It was something that came inside my heart to my belief. I said, I want to make a difference. And I kind of searched my soul a little bit. You have to search yourself because you want to be happy with whatever you are doing. Don't make nobody make you do something you don't want to do. What we're asking you, we want you to be happy. We want you to fall in love to something that you enjoy. It's like falling in love to your wife or to your husband because you fall in love because you believe in your partner. And we want you to fall in love to that particular mission so you be becoming engaged and doing a better way for you to be productive.
You mentioned how connected the world is now.
It's getting smaller.
Yes. It wasn't so small
It was
when
not
we were
small.
coming up. I wonder how you connected to the world. Now you can reach into your pocket, pull out a phone, and call somebody on the other side of the world, look up almost anything that's ever been written in the history of the world. Those options weren't available when you were a child. So how did you connect to the world? How did you even come to dream of going to Georgetown, say?
I grew up, even though I grew up very poor, that's something I didn't mention. I came from a family of 10 children. My father was educated. He was a teacher, made like $37 a month as a teacher, and trying to raise us in the best that he can, which he believed that going to school was the best way for us to succeed. The neighborhood where I grew up, just then in Kinshasa, was like 3 blocks away from the U.S. Embassy. Then my elementary school was almost like a few yards away from the U.S. Embassy. And my high school bus was in front of the U.S. Embassy. So every morning I have to go to school, I have to pass in front of the U.S. Embassy. Then I would go there. They used to have this billboard where they would put a picture of everything goes on in America, all the great things, people going to the space and the doctor doing it. And I used to pass my day as a young child, just to look, spend about an hour just reading. And on Friday and Saturday, they used to have a free movie night for any kids in Congo can come watch the movie in the U.S. So I came and kind of learned a little bit of American culture. As being tall as I was, and I'm still tall, I lost a few inches, but I'm still tall. Since a young age, so many people in my neighborhood used to think I was American because I was different compared to every kid in the neighborhood. They said, look at the American kid. And so it kind of resonated with me that, hey, one day I will go to America. What do I have to do? I just need to go to school, study hard, maybe win a scholarship, go to America. And you have to be inspired.
And you were raised by an educator, and clearly
Yes.
education is essential to your life. I read where you said recently that you believe education is the key to stopping the spread of Ebola, the Ebola virus.
Yes.
How can education help in that regard?
You know, Ebola virus is one of the most deadly viruses that the world have not seen because you can become contaminated just by touching the body of somebody who's sick or by being too close to someone who have Ebola who's just coughing, or by bumping with the person who have Ebola. If you don't wash yourself quickly, this fuel can go to your body and you can become sick. Or walking where there was a burial site of someone who died from Ebola, and the body was washed, and the water was throwing in the neighborhood on the street, and anybody who walked by there, you have a chance to be contaminated. It's just very bad that my people have not been educated about this virus because nobody really don't understand where the virus comes from. As a start. And I'm glad that I'm serving on the board of CDC Foundation now, which allowed me to learn a lot about some of the diseases that are affecting our community globally. Now I can go out and serve as an ambassador for those causes and being a messenger to my people. Because for people to be educated today, sometimes you have to speak to them to the language that they understand. And being in Africa, it kind of giving me the platform to do that.
You speak particularly to the challenges that women face.
Yes.
How is it particularly difficult for women in Congo to get an education or to get access to proper health care?
Women education has been a big challenge in the continent of Africa. There's so much part of the continent today where young girls still be giving away to the marriage at the age of 14 years old or 12 years old. My poor mom, who's no longer with us, but she got married when she was 12 years old. A couple months ago, I got a chance to take a trip for the first time to go to the place where my mom and dad was born and raised, to just see what kind of situation is going on over there. What can I do, me as a Dikembe Mutombo and the Mutombo Foundation? And when I arrived there, it's a huge city. It's maybe the third biggest city in the Congo. About 5.2 million people live there.
And that's your first time going back?
It was my first time going back there because I don't know why my parents was a little bit hesitant about taking us back to where they came from. But my father, as he was getting close to his end, he was used to tell me, when you get a chance, you gotta go by yourself where I came from. And I went there, and I found out that in the last 10 years, more than 2 million young girls have dropped out from school after 8th grade. And the number keep increasing. So many of them are being given away to marriage in the early age of 12, 13, 14 years old. So many of them are going to prostitution. So many of them are being sent on a farm to do farming. Some of them are being sent, their parents are calling them to go work in the market, to go do agriculture. And I was like, why? I gotta do something. Because I have a daughter, I'm a father, and I'm an uncle to so many nieces. And I want all those, our beautiful young girls being educated. Because if we want our society to keep moving forward, we gotta use all of our resources that we have as a human being to make sure that our young women get educated. Because the future of our society belongs to them. Because our society can be collapsed today if women stop producing. You know, men can be eliminated around this world. We can have 5 men left. As long as we have 1,000 women left, our society will be productive. And that's a big thing that our young people need to know. We need to protect our girls and our women. We gotta do whatever it takes necessary to make sure that they grow to the society where they are free, where they are educated, where they are healthy, because there's no society without healthy women. If our women becoming sick or becoming affected with different diseases or being diagnosed with different cancer, our society will end. And I want to be part of that problem. My poor mother could have been alive today if there was an ambulance system in the city of Kinshasa that could have gone from their hospital and come pick up my mom when she was not feeling well. But there was no ambulance system until the Dikembe Mutombo Foundation came in and established the ambulance system in the country. So there's a lot of things that we as a human can do or can engage and to solve some of the problems that our society are facing. Young people, do not think that every problem that our society is facing will be solved by the government. The government is there to set the rule, to regulate some of the things, but so many problems that our society will be able to solve are being solved by human beings, citizens like you and I, who are taking their own engagement to the problem that they see or the problem that they believe in, and they go out and solve those problems. You have the power to do that. Don't sit down and think that what the world is facing now, there's so many of them, but trying to engage yourself socially in a community and becoming part of the global community and becoming a global citizen, and our world will be better. Because if you don't think that, you think that, okay, I'm going to make my money, get married, me and my wife will go live that part of the world. I don't care what's going on the south side. I don't care what's going on the north side. One day you're going to wake up, that fire will be close to your house. And your house, do you see what is happening in California? I don't know if some of you guys watch TV, because you young people today, y'all don't watch TV no more. That's true. You know what's going on in California now? I just had to remind you, for some of you guys don't watch TV. But there's a big fire in California. People thought it was only in Los Angeles. Then they thought it was only in San Francisco. Now it's burning everywhere. Because you don't know which direction that wind will blow. And if you didn't prepare yourself to becoming engaged to your community, what do we do in a community when the fire goes on? What do we do when the fire comes? Which way do we run? You gotta becoming engaged. You gotta be part of the community. You gotta know the people who are living with you, are they okay? And everything's going okay.
I hesitate to say this when we're at the Institute of Politics, like it says right behind us, but it sounds like you're really a big believer in the private sector and the power
Yes,
of
I believe in the
individuals.
private sector. I don't trust our politicians. I never trust them when I was young. I never gonna trust them today. That's why I never gone to politics. But I believe that we as human beings can solve the problem, because our great-grandparents did solve so many problems that they didn't face with having the government. And I think that we can do that the same. What I'm doing today, I'm doing it because I found people, some of my board members who are here with me, I found people who believe in my mission, who got on the train with me. I said, this is where we're going, let's go and solve the problem. They believe in me, and we went and solved those problems. And I think we got more problems to solve in this world. It's about just finding people who believe in you and trying to walk on the same path together. Maybe you guys will solve a lot of problems, trust me. I would have not been able to treat more than 200-some thousand women and children if I didn't find the people who believe in me, who believe that Dikembe will be there with you and walk with you, make sure that we see changing around the world. And you can do it, believe you can do it. We trust you, and we believe in you, and you are the future of this beautiful world that God made it.
I'll ask you one final question. Speaking of solving a big problem, so you said you modeled your hospital that you built after American-style hospitals, but I would argue you probably wouldn't. America doesn't have the example of healthcare that would be modeled around the world. Given your understanding of the struggles to institute a better healthcare policy here, and from your understanding of what you've seen around the world, what is the healthcare system solution? You know, I think you have a good sense for hospitals and how those can function, but in terms of a healthcare system, what would you think the solution should be?
I think it's been in the United States of America, the most powerful economy of the world, one a great country in this planet. I think America should be a country where healthcare should not be a church, but it should be a right of any human being living here in the United States. Why our women, our parents and grandparents should die why they're waiting for to be seen by a doctor, or because they've been turning away in an emergency room because they didn't have an insurance. Why? Why that is not happening in a place like the Mutombo Hospital? First we treat you, then we worry about how you gonna pay us next. Why we can do that in Africa, we cannot do in America. And then we go around, we say we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Maybe some of us gotta read the Bible twice. So we have to be careful the way we treat our own citizen. Another thing, I think we're still facing a lot of challenges in healthcare because our politicians are still not responding to what they want to do in our community. You know, so many of them, when they're running for the office, they say, oh yes, I'm going to do this when I get to Washington. Soon as they get in Washington, they forget about what they're supposed to do for their own community. It's very sad. It's very sad. It's someone who was born not as a healthy child. It took me a long time to just learn how to sit down because I did have some health challenges when I was a baby. And to see how many young people who are losing their life in the US, where we have everything, where we have technology, we have medicine, but we choose who do we offer the health care to, because it doesn't come to the same community where we come from. It's very sad.
All right, we're going to open it up for questions here. You can step to the microphone here. We'd like the first 3 questions to come from students before we open it up completely.
My name is David. I'm first year at the Harris School of Public Policy. Dikembe, I just wanted to say thank you for speaking today. I'm an international student from Nigeria who also came to the U.S. to study. I just wanted to ask, what advice would you give to international students who, have all come, like you said, you went to Georgetown, and who have come to the U.S. to study and hopefully want to go back to their respective countries and be catalysts of change, given how the government can be and how they look at young people and stuff. So what would be your advice to those of us who want to go back and enact change?
Good question. First, I want to congratulate you for pursuing your education, your higher education. And I know that you're setting some goal about what you want to accomplish while you're here in the United States. First, I will tell you that first you got to get your degree. Then after you get your degree, if you choose to stay in the US or you want to go back home, before you go back home, trying to make sure that there's a place for you that you can go fall in. Don't go back home because you just want to start over. Or then you will get so much frustrated, then it will make you run from Africa and come back here. Don't never go back again to Africa. But while you're studying, trying to see if you can set up some pipeline to know what is happening back home, what kind of job can you get when you come in, or you going to start your own company, or you going to start your own private businesses to practice and to do business, and so you can succeed. You don't want to go home to the place or to a bed where you were sleeping before, because it's not going to be good. You want to go home, make it also, maybe you're going to have to make that decision as you're getting closer. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Annalise Wagner. I'm a second-year MPP student at the Harris School of Public Policy. So it seems like education has been foundational to your success, and I'm definitely a basketball novice, but my understanding is that the NBA requires only students to be 1 year out of high school to enter, and is kind of moving back towards maybe allowing students to come straight from high school. So I wonder what your thoughts are on that and how you counsel young people who ask you about the path and the importance of getting a college degree.
I'm glad you asked that question. I've been, to tell you the truth, I just don't like it. I don't believe our young people. I have a son who's 16 years old, who's almost 7-footer. He's playing basketball. He's one of the top-ranking basketball players. But I do tell him every day that, son, you got to go to college if you know you're a good basketball player. You know, people don't understand. Jay will give you a statistic. The average career in the NBA is only 2.5 to 3 years. You know, many guys that you see in the NBA, you wake up tomorrow morning when the season starts, you don't see them. Nobody never asks the question, where did they go? People only clap, oh, we got a couple of rookies on the team. But nobody never say, what happened to the guy who was here? The guy's at home. So it's good for our young people to get an education. The NBA is not saying that everybody who's good in basketball, you have to leave high school, come straight to the NBA. They say the opportunity is there, but you don't have to follow it. But your choice, you have to understand that the game that you're about to go play, it might not be good as you think you are, because your body gotta develop. If you go to the NBA so early and your body is not ready, you may be good with the talent, but you are not physically fit, or you're gonna be out there like in 2 years. And you cannot blame the league. So I believe that young people need to go to college at least for 2 years. How many LeBron James do you know in the NBA? Or Kobe? Anybody can tell me? There's not many of them. Name me how many Kobe or LeBron James. There's not even 5 of them in the NBA. So we can set all the policy we want because all the activist people want to say, okay, we need to give every kid a chance to go make money. It's great. Okay, who's going to be watching that kids? You have an 18 years old or 17 years old coming out from high school. You give him $10 million. What is he going to do with it? What is he going to do with it? First, he comes from high school, he doesn't have all the structure that he needs for him to go into the adult life. And he's going to play the game, what they call a man game. It's a different world up there. We have to protect our children. We can speak, we can advocate about it, but we still have to protect our future of our society. We got to make sure that our young people go to school. There's nothing better than the school. I'm so happy from graduating from Georgetown. Not just for going to Georgetown, but for graduating. And that gives me a privilege to be who I am today. Thank you.
Mr. Mutombo, I'm a second year in the business school, but more importantly, I also had the privilege of graduating from Georgetown, maybe a few years after.
There we go. Oh, yeah, Saxon.
A couple of years later. But I noticed tonight and many times over the last few weeks, the media has been asking players, current or former, about what they think about what Daryl Morey said and whether they would speak up for the rights of people who are fighting for a chance to have a say in their future in Hong Kong. I notice less often that the media asks owners about what they think about the NBA in Hong Kong or whether they will stand up for the things that players are saying or that their employees are saying. Do you think the media should spend more time asking those hard questions of owners? And what do you think owners should say in response?
I'm glad you asked me that question because I work for the owners. As an NBA Global Ambassador, I would say that it's been one of the challenging times for us as a player, former players, coaches, general manager, team owners. The time they've not been great, you know. I always say that we as a people, we have a right to respect each other. We have a right to respect each other, religion, belief, culture, but we cannot always be judged because your brother says something and you got fell victim for. And I think we just need to let this big wound that the Chinese people are feeling heal. And then as soon as that wound heal, I think our marriage will come back to normal. I love Chinese people. I love the culture. Not just I love Chinese food. I love that. But I just have so many friends and business partners in China. And I don't want this to be the end of the road for us. And I think, I don't blame the media. I don't think the media is the one who, it's a decision made by the Chinese government. And I think it will die. It will die very soon. And our game is just so big because it be disrupted because of one tweet.
Actually did ask an owner, and he had similar sentiments. He thinks it will blow over and
Hi,
we'll be back to normal.
thank you for sharing all your inspiring stories. I'm a second year in the college. In fact, I'm a Rocky fan from China, diehard Rocky fan since 2005. Because you and Yao Ming has been like our heroes, especially during the season that Yao Ming was injured and you really carried a real long winning streak.
Thank you.
So can you comment a little more on NBA's China's future and what do you want to see in long term? And also about you and Yao Ming's friendship, because he said in his speech that you really inspired him to do more good and create more social impact in China.
Yaya made me more popular in China than I was when I was playing basketball. I don't know what I've done, but I've tried to be an example for so many people who have walked my path in life and who can learn or pick up something from what I was being able to accomplish or being able to do in my lifetime. Because everything I do in my life, I don't do it myself. I have so many people, so many friends, so many colleagues, and advisor, board member, who advise me on a daily basis on my journey to make sure that the organization that I represent continue to stand what they believe in. But in the same token, I want to share the road that I walk in to other people like I did with Yao Ming, for him to go out in China today, build school, build recreation center, community center, do all the social engagement that he's doing in his country because he did have a good teammate. And I think our friendship will remain strong forever. That's the reason why my wife and I and the kids, we try to go to China every year to go see him. And every time he comes to the U.S., he always makes sure that he sees us. That's what friendship is. It's not just playing basketball. People don't understand. Playing basketball is good. But remember, there's life after the game. And the life you have to go on. Your friendship is more important. It's like going to school here. It's very good. But you want to build those friendships when each one of you walk there in the stage, get his diploma. It doesn't matter where your friends are from, as long as you stay in touch, even with the email or with Instagram, with the tweet. Once in a while, just text your friends, say, how are they doing? That is called human connection. And you can do it. It's very important in life. Thanks so much, young man.
Thank you.
You think you can get Yao to meet with Adam Silver? That asking too much?
You know, my boy, as I call him, my boy, I think he's in a hot seat right now. You know, he's a player first. Then he's a former player, he's an NBA, he's a CBA commissioner, and he's in the politics. He just carries so much plate with him, and I think the situation that we are facing now, you have put so much weight on him, and that's the reason why it's becoming so difficult for him to even comment about it. And very difficult even for me, who's one of his good friends, even to talk to him about it. I would rather call him and ask him how his wife and the kids are doing and his mom and dad than get into what we are facing now. But I think time will come, him and I will come somewhere and you have a good food and a drink and talk about it.
Hi, Mr. Mutombo. My name is Don Kasendi, first year in the college. I'm from DR Congo, like yourself. And I think you made a very interesting statement towards the end of your talk saying how you don't trust politicians. And I was wondering how you look at the current situation in Congo with the new president, Felix Tshisekedi, that being the first peaceful transition in forever. And do you view that as positive or more something that's just not going to lead to something better in the future?
I'm glad thank you. Thanks for being from home. I think the future of Congo looked bright, much brighter than it was before. With the first elected president in the Congo. For so long, we never have elected president in power for the last 58 years in the Congo since independence. We never have a president who's been elected by the people. Everything has been a military coup. President Felix is doing a good job. But the thing is, we as a people, you have to be very supportive of some of his engagement and some of the mission and the things that he lay out to move the country forward, to live together in a prosperity and for a better future for our children. Myself and the foundation, we are trying to be very supportive for the central government with the health care, also with the education. That's the reason why we are about to build a $4.2 million school, which we will break ground in January, because we want to be part of the solution. We know that there's a lot of challenges. As I said earlier on that, your country cannot do anything for you. Like President Kennedy said in the 1960s, always think about what you can do for the United States of America and for a globe. Don't always waiting and sitting in your chair, think about what America will do for you or what the world will bring to you. You gotta see what you can contribute because God bless you with so many gifts. Like me, I ain't wake up being a 7-footer. It might take a time for me to grow up becoming a 7-footer, but I feel very blessed to be who I am today, to walk in the shoes that I am on. Even my shoes is big enough, size 22. But I feel like I am blessed that I'm using the platform and to make a difference. And we as a people in the Congo, we need to stop waiting for the government to do something. People have made that mistake a lot, sitting there, oh, the government's going to fix the road, the government going to pick up trash. When you knew that it was your neighbor who threw the trash in the street, now you're waiting for the city to come clean it. Why you cannot tell your neighbor why you throwing trash in the street? Want to pick it up. And those are the changing or the mentality that need to happen in the Congo now. And I want to be part of those who are bringing those changing and those approach to the people, giving my people hope. And I think I'm doing it. I think I'm doing my best. I'm not in politics, but I'm doing my best. Even though we are speaking in the School of Policy, but
I think the lesson that's come through is even if you do go into politics, don't be the person that gets elected and doesn't do anything. And
yes,
that's what speaks to your frustration, is that people make so many promises, get to Washington, get to office, and don't do anything. But that doesn't mean you can't go into politics and actually follow through.
You can go to politics if you want to, but remember, you will carry much weight in your shoulder, and you have to know how you're going to relieve those weights. You know, you just have to be smarter, and you have to be becoming a great decision maker, because you will get critics. Not everybody will love you. You know, it's like playing basketball. You're going to miss some layup. Some people are going to boo, but you have to remember, you have to make the next layup. Yes, young lady.
Hi, my name is Ali Goldblatt, and I'm a second year in the college. I've also been involved with Special Olympics on the international level.
Good cause. I like you already.
And we've overlapped at certain events, including the 2017 World Games in Austria. And I was just wondering what has inspired your advocacy for the organization as a global ambassador.
I'm glad you asked that. Matter of fact, as I was speaking with Jay here, I didn't get a chance to elaborate much on all the social causes that I'm involved in, not just with the NBA, Special Olympic, UNICEF, you name a few, World Health Organization, CDC. So why do I do this? I do it because I want our future. I want your future, my children and my grandchildren to have a better world that I did have. I might walk to school an hour and a half every day, but I don't want my children and my grandchildren to walk in the school in the rain, on a thunderstorm, on a sunny day, because they didn't have a school bus. The reason I've engaged myself a lot for Special Olympic, because I have a cousin. I have a cousin who's a Special Olympic athlete. Growing up, he was kept in a master bedroom, away from everybody. When you come over my uncle's house, they will not even show you that she's there. He was kept away from everybody. They didn't give her right even to play with anybody. Every time I go to Congo, I will have to ask her for her. Where is she? They would say, oh, she's far away. And when I was approached, as I was playing the game of basketball, about a Special Olympic to join the movement, I felt like that's a movement that I need to be part of it. Because we as a human being, we have to accept any human being who lives in this planet. Anybody that God giving a breath to live in this world, we have to respect them. No matter which way they are born, or they cannot walk, they cannot grab something with their hands, but we have to respect them. They cannot sit in their home. We have to respect them, not because of their physical differences. We cannot think that they are no great human being. And I love Special Olympic. It brings that love, that passion, the kindness that any human being can have. For some of you guys who are looking for something to do, we are welcome you to Special Olympic movement. Come spend a week with Special Olympics Chicago. It's a great movement here. We just have our game here last year. Go and spend a week with all those Special Olympic athletes. Don't call them Special Olympic kids. They are Special Olympic athletes. You will learn a lot. You will end up appreciating life more than you never done before. Thank you.
Time for 2 more questions.
Hi, my name's Dan. I am a student of Professor Dondes up at Northwestern. And I'm curious what your thoughts about the accessibility of higher education are. Do you think it's accessible enough, and how do you think the accessibility could be improved? Because you place such a high value on education.
Higher education is very important as long as you can afford it. The education in America is becoming very expensive. And our students are digging themselves a hole, getting education, but also carrying the burden of debt. But I hope somehow that we will see more students get access to a higher education with more scholarship. That's the only way that we will see a balance in the United States of America. There's so many people who have a dream of higher education, but they cannot get it because there's no organization or any institution who can come out to their rescue. We can have more doctors and more nurses if we want to. Why America continue to import more nurses from overseas than we haven't done before? What is happening? Why are we losing passion to that field? Because there's so many women and so many young men who want to go to that field, but they cannot afford it. So it's still a debate to our beautiful Congress. I hope one day they will come up with will come up with a solution. Thanks.
Final question.
Habari Muse, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. My name is Kobene Kalambula. I'm a second year in the college. And I just wanted to ask you, my own family works in Congo. My dad is from Congo, and my grandparents are currently in Bukavu, where they run a school in both the city of Bukavu and in a village outside Bukavu. And just given your emphasis on education, empowering people, and also you're moving from health to trying to focus on education and providing education, do you have any advice on like effective or specific ways that people can be empowered, especially given all the obstacles that come in the way of corruption within Congo, neocolonialism from other countries that are exploiting people? How can we effectively empower people through education or other means to create for themselves, make livings for themselves, to thrive, given all these obstacles?
To answer your question, very easy. The Old Testament said that people perish because of lack of knowledge. So with our education, we are nobody. You'll be nowhere. So I think we as humans, we have a moral duty to fulfill a lot. We need to give to our young people as much tool as we can if we're going to leave this world in a better place for the generation to come. I'm so happy what is happening in the Congo now with the central government freeing the education, being free with no tuition, because no parents now in the Congo, out of the 87 million people live there, can give themselves no more an excuse that my kids, my son doesn't go to school or my daughter doesn't go to school because I don't have a $300 tuition a year to pay. Now the government say, okay, we're going to take care of that. Every morning, every kid's got to be in the school. But for so many parents, they feel like it was a shock on their culture, on their behavior. And I'm telling you the truth as we are talking now. So many schools are still not full with students because parents who got used to keep their kids at home because they was blaming that I don't have the money for tuition, and they put their kids to help them on farming and doing other things. Now they don't want to let their kids go back to school. It's one of the most debates that we're going to have in the Congo, maybe in 5 years from now. Because I'm leaving to go to Congo on Saturday to meet with the central government to discuss how my school will be run in 2 years from now. What kind of curriculum that we need to put in place that will not jeopardize what the government have already said. But those are the things that I'm preparing myself. But the question remains, why would you refuse to put your kids at school when the schools are free? It happens even in America. You go to so many neighborhoods where our public school systems are free, but you still have so many kids who don't want to be in school. I think it maybe it's a human nature, but it's something we still have to debate on. And that's where each one of you come from, by joining those part of movement to encourage more young people in our community to go to school. Everything I did in my life, or any advice that I got in my lifetime, it didn't just come from my mom and father. No way. I'll tell you the truth. A lot of them came from people that I met on my walk of life. One of them was John Thompson and others. The different people will walk to you, give you an advice, and you have to take it. Use with what your family gave to you, and then melt it, and then make it to becoming successful. Thank you so much for having me, Jay.
Thank you so much, Dikembe. And thanks to all of you for coming out and for your great questions tonight. Thank you.